Okay, good evening, everyone. It's 6 p.m. I welcome everyone to the July 12th Summers County Board of Education regular board meeting. Roll call. Let the record reflect that all members are present. Ask Mr. Brogan to give the invocation and the pledge of allegiance.
My Father in heaven, today, Lord, be blessed. We thank you for all the folks that you have given us some schools. Lord, we pray that you be with us. We pray that you be with us again. Lord, continue to make the best decision for the citizens. Pray in the name of Jesus. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Okay, agenda item number 3, approval of agenda and adjustments.
Make a motion, we pull out R.T. Rogers and Safe and Sound, be voted on separately.
Second. So we have a motion to pull out R.T. Rogers and Safe and Sound. Second by Jay. Discussion. All in favor? Opposed? Abstaining? Let the record reflect by 5-0 vote. The agenda is approved with the adjustment of pulling out R.T. Rogers and Safe and Sound. We've approved to pull out R.T. Rogers Safe and Sound. Any other adjustments?
I'll make a motion, we approve the agenda as read with the aforementioned changes.
We have a motion to approve the agenda, seconded by Renee. Any discussion? All in favor? Aye. Opposed? Abstained? Let the record reflect by 5-0 vote, the agenda has been approved. Item number 4, calls for applause, Misty's Lemonade Stand.
Is Misty out there? Okay. I'm gonna just show you something. We need to at least acknowledge Miss Hannah and Misty and the lemonade that she sold the other day. I'll try to do it justice because she's much cuter than I am to present.
Can we get that, Mr. Ward?
Miss Hannah saw Misty selling lemonade at her house, which is a little bit off the beaten path. And so she spent her own money being the teacher, and she went on Amazon and bought her a CEO and / owner of a lemonade stand. And we need to praise our teacher with this student because this student's a sweetheart, but our teacher made sure to give her a high traffic area at Bell Point on the 4th of July, and you can't get a better picture than that. But I did tell the CEO she needs to be here tonight because I bet she could make some good money. But what we're going to do with her and the class is on the first day of school, I'm going to let the staff know to bring extra money for coffee because the kids are still doing that, and it teaches them life skills. The only thing they still need to work on is they don't make change, they just keep all the money. So I'm glad everybody's laughing because that's the point, and I really like that. And on a serious note, the kids do work to put together items to sell to people, and that teaches them a life lesson. But I just want to congratulate Miss Hannah and Missy for working together. I think Missy probably told her what to do, which I think is, if anybody's been around her, she's really good at getting orders. And that you need a person like that in a management position to tell people how to do the job. And she's moving on to be a freshman, so she's moving out of the class, and I thought this was a sweet picture, and we wanted to share that on our website. But this is a great cause for applause, and I'm sorry that I had to speak tonight because I really wanted those two to talk to you about it, but we'll maybe get them here next time, okay?
Thank you. Item number 5, presentations. Kara Skaggs, Summers County Wellness Center.
Miss Skaggs will come up and talk. She asked, does it have to be a real formal setting. I said, no, just like we're sitting around a kitchen table discussing all the things that you guys are doing at the medical center. And then I said, you guys would probably ask her a few questions, so I'll turn it over to Ms. Gaines.
Hi, I'm Tara. Thanks for having me here. I'm going to try to keep this brief and just give you some information about our new health center located in the back parking lot. We opened about the beginning of May 9th actually, and it has actually been going very well. In school-based health in new centers, you typically start your day with about 0 patients and work up to 1 or 2 within 1 to 2 months. And we're averaging 4 to 5 patients, so that just really shows the community need for us to be here because we basically opened close to the end of the school year and we're still seeing that volume of patients. We also had behavioral health that's been in the school since 2016. And Megan Wheeler, she's with us, she is providing care services through the summer. And she is seeing 6 patients currently at the health center through the summer and providing those weekly services. So that's definitely a much needed service to maintain mental health. A lot of times in school-based health, behavioral health services kind of cut off at the beginning or the end of the school year and pick back up at the beginning. And Megan chose to do things differently, and we're very thankful for that. I just want to give you a little bit of our background and our mission statement. Raynor Medical Center, our mission statement is to promote and improve individual, family, and community wellness by providing quality health services and educational information regardless of ability to pay in the rural medically underserved areas and communities that Raynor Medical Center serves. So with that being said, Raynor Medical Center has satellites throughout multiple counties, and a lot of those are school-based health. And in school-based health, it leads to kids that otherwise wouldn't have access to care, having access, whether it be transportation or for other reasons. It provides medical services for these students. At the beginning of the school year, we have a school-based health consent form, and on this form, it tells the parent exactly what we do, and that they can select their level of care, which is great because some students they have a primary care provider, they have a pediatrician, but they may have urgent care or a sore throat, and it's really difficult for a parent to miss school or to miss work, the child miss school, so they can just select urgent care on here. No vaccinations, no other treatment, just emergency services, urgent care. The great thing about that too is if we see someone for urgent care, a sick visit, and they need additional care, such as we feel like maybe they have a radial break or an arm break, then our provider, Stephanie Hamilton, who's here with us, she will refer them to the hospital. So from that point, like we're going to refer them, we noticed that, you have some staining on your teeth and you really need to have your teeth examined during a well child exam, and we might make an eye referral, a dental referral to our local dentist in the area. So our goal here is to partner and collaborate, not to compete. We want to build local partnerships, and all of us work together because I'm sure that all of you know we're no longer just medically treating kids or teaching kids, we are raising them. So, all of us forming these partnerships together are going to make these kids more successful in life. So a few of the benefits by us providing these school-based health care is increased student attendance, increased staff attendance by us being here, improves the graduation rate, improves test scores, improves access to care, reduces teen suicide rates by offering services to support at-risk students. During our well child exams, we do depression screenings, which a lot is caught, like things that we might not even know is going on with the child can be revealed in those screenings. So that's definitely a helpful tool. It creates a positive school climate that fosters learning, connects students and families to healthcare, provides greater access to healthcare, and limits the spread of viruses. Therefore, that's going to reduce absences in attendance, improve attendance. So we don't want someone to come to school with a sore throat. They actually had strep. They spread strep or the flu instead of just coming, getting tested, and sending them home. So it really does help with attendance. And other things that we do, and it's for everyone, is we have a CCP program, and that's for teachers. It's comprehensive care partnership. So if you work for the Board of Education, then you can come and see us, and you don't pay your co-pays. Like, you can see us anytime. It's unlimited how many times you come and see us, and it's just your insurance pays us a one-time monthly fee for your service. And the other thing that we're planning to do is a DOT partnership where we have that fixed rate for DOT physicals for $75. So I plan to meet with you about that. That's on our list to do. Some of the other services that we provide are well child allergy injections. If your child receives allergy injections from their ENT, they can be sent here. We can give them, we can hold them for their 15 or 30 minutes, whatever their ENT recommends, and then send them to class, or they're missing several hours of school to go to that later. So we do free sports physicals for all students and all kids in the community. Immunizations, we will do those with well child exams. They're yearly physical if they don't have a regular provider. But we also are kind of partnering with the health department too, and they will have their vaccine clinics. And so we do vaccines if a parent has requested and they didn't have it with the health department. It is a service that we can offer, but for the most part, I do feel like or know that the health department will offer vaccine clinics. We have on-site labs. If you are a teacher or anyone that needs your A1C checked, we have a rapid A1C machine. We have rapid COVID test, rapid flu test, strep test. So really all of our testing takes about 5 to 20 minutes. So that's a lot less time missed from class than driving off site. And then we do chronic care management. I do want to just explain that for just a minute. Chronic care management is not chronic pain care management. Chronic care management is the treatment of things such as diabetes. Stephanie can, she can monitor you, change your medicine, those kind of things, and work with your doctor that normally treats your diabetes. But we do not offer any kind of narcotics or long-term pain management at our facility, or at any of our facilities actually. So that is not a service that we offer. And I'm trying to think if there's anything else. I do want to introduce our staff. So our provider has over 20 years of healthcare experience. She is a PA. She's very well versed. She's worked years in pediatrics. She has adult care, ER care. She's very, very skilled. So Stephanie, this is Stephanie Hamilton. We're very pleased to have her on board. Sonia Weichel is her nurse. She also has years of experience. She's local from this area. So great kids go to school here, right? So very excited to have her too. Destiny Meadows is our front desk, so if you call over there, that's who you'll get a hold of. Destiny is also a resident of Summers County. And then we have Megan Wheeler, who is our behavioral health therapist. Probably a lot of you have met because she does through the school year work within the school and also has an office in our building. So that's really all that I have for you today. I just wanted to tell you that we are open, services are going well. We still have a few signage and things to finish up in there, but as far as healthcare, we are set and ready and have everything that we need to operate and are currently seeing patients. So we definitely, with almost 12,000 residents and the population of 12,000 in this area in Summers County, I definitely think that it's a well-needed service that we provide. So I appreciate you having me speak and giving me your time. Do you want me to answer any questions?
Do you have any questions?
Okay. All right, well, thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Okay, agenda item number 6, public comments. We have one public comment. It's Micaiah Houchins and Lindley Patton. Got 5 minutes to speak, and I'm just going to give a reminder that we speak on the topic and not specific individuals.
My name is Micaiah Hutchins, and I graduated this past year and was part of the cheer program for 4 years. This decision doesn't impact me, but I care enough about the program to want to see it improve. For this program, it requires certain experiences. This includes a coach who has coached high school cheer before, a coach who has also coached in the county and that is familiar with the program and how it works. The program has made great progress over the past 6 years as the previous coaches before worked very hard to achieve this goal. There are many responsibilities when it comes to this program. This includes a coach willing to dedicate their time to this sport and give their attention to all cheerleaders on the team. This coach is also responsible for every single cheerleader and treating them fair. Practices run from August to March and are every day due to learning/teaching materials. This includes learning materials that have to be taught by a choreographer for competition. Not including the expenses that come along with competition, but also the 8-hour practices. In that paper I gave you guys, it lists different things that we have to learn in order to compete. There are roughly 80 sidelines and band dances that have to be learned. They need a coach who is familiar with the cheers and band dances as well. Also having someone that is familiar with competing in high school cheer is important as well. I have some of the expenses listed, including uniforms, events, shoes, socks, bows, sweats, and fundraisers. I mentioned fundraisers because it helps pay for things as well as expenses. They need a coach who is willing to give up many things to make sure Summers County looks the best. This includes on the sidelines, on the floor competing, and how cheerleaders look outside uniform. Over the 4 years I have cheered, I've noticed certain cheerleaders receiving special treatment during school. That affects things because it disencourages other students in the county wanting to cheer. They need someone who has experience in the program, someone who cares about the whole team, as well as someone who is familiar when competing. I recommend Alicia Lilly. She has coached the program the past 6 years and has made a tremendous impact. This includes going to competition 6 years ago for the first time in 9 years, and over each year we competed, our scores got better. She has experience with competing, I mentioned that like 800 times, sorry, and she has connections with great choreographers that help our routines. And that's all I have. Thank you.
Okay, item number 7, approval of minutes. We have before us the June 30th regular meeting minutes and July 5th statutory meeting minutes. I would like to handle these separately. So we'll start with June 30th. Start with the June 30th minutes.
I'll make a motion to approve June 30th regular meeting minutes.
Okay, we have a motion to approve the June 30th regular meeting minutes in a second. Is there any discussion? I will entertain that I'm going to abstain because I was not at that meeting. So with that, we'll go ahead and take a vote. All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Abstaining? Aye. So let the minutes reflect that 3-0 vote with 2 abstentions. The June 30th, 2022 regular meeting minutes are approved. Next, we'll go with the July 5th, 2022 statutory meeting. I'll make a motion that we approve the July 5th, 2022 statutory meeting minutes. Okay, we have a motion on the floor, seconded by Ms. Harvey, that we approve the July 5th statutory meeting minutes. Any discussion? All in favor? Say aye. Aye. Opposed? Abstained. Let the minutes reflect by 5-0 vote that the July 5th statutory meeting minutes are approved. Okay, next approval of bills. We're going to address Safe and Sound and RT Rogers first. before us, we have a bill for Safe and Sound at R.T. Rogers.
Make a motion that we pay Safe and Sound Marching Orders.
Second.
We have a motion by Ms. Harvey, seconded by Mr. McBride, that we pay R.T. Rogers and Safe and Sound. Any discussion? Okay, all in favor? Aye. Opposed? Abstained. The minutes reflect by a 4-0 vote. We approve to pay R.T. Rogers and Safe and Sound. Also, we'll let those reflect that Mr. Brogan recused himself. Okay, now for the remainder of the bills.
I'll second.
Have a motion by Mr. McBride, seconded by Mr. Brogan, that we pay the remainder of the bills. Any discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Opposed? Abstained. The minutes reflect by a 5-0 vote. The remainder of the bills have been paid. Okay, new business, item number 9. Discussion or possible action regarding approval of purchases over $20,000.
You all have a paper with a laundry list of all the bills that will be paid this school year. So this is fiscal year 23. This is basically what we do every year this time, is present this to the board to show you what we'll be paying out for the school year. There is a place in there for Mr. Brogan where it says R.T. Rogers diesel and R.T. Rogers gas. That's an estimation of what we're going to pay for this school year. Anything with school parts or bus parts, fuel, etc., towards the bus garage, this county gets reimbursed from 2 years from now, 95%. So, and this is for people to understand out there in the public, this is state bid fuel. So whatever the fuel prices are that you pay, schools pay a lot less, probably less. I don't say a lot, not this year. It'll be less though, because they knew what this year was going to have versus the year before. But at this point in time, these are all the things that we have before you that'll be over 20,000. You can also see student services that deal with speech therapy, to whole life services with psychological help, to food services, first aid, kitchen, HVAC, those types of items that we use to feed our kids and make sure we have a clean environment for all the food. As you look at the bill or the proposal here, you can see a lot of food in student services. The rest is basically towards busing, and then anything left over is for curriculum. And then we also have McKinley on there because McKinley TES, that's Talcott School, BG, that's the bus garage, HAE, Hinton area, and then McKinley, Summers County Comprehensive High School. Those things need to be paid because that's their services that they provide as a firm to make sure we get things done in a timely fashion. So if you have any questions, I'll answer those, but these are all the items that we knew would be over $20,000 at this point in time.
We have a motion to approve purchases over $20,000. We have a motion on the floor by Jay to approve purchases over $20,000, second by Ms. Martin. Any discussion? All in favor? Opposed? Abstained. The minutes reflect a 5-0 vote that we have approved purchases over $20,000. Discussion possible action regarding approval of MOU between Summers County Schools and Summers County Wellness Center and Medical Center.
I don't have anything else to add. Ms. Skaggs pretty much gave you all the information. This MOU is very similar to last year's MOU. And before Mr. Chad Metter left the health department, he made sure to let myself and Ms. Skaggs know that if we let them take over vaccines, that could hurt the health department. So we have agreed to make sure the health department gets to do vaccines first for the school system. Anything after that, that's for anybody to go anywhere for a vaccine at that point in time. That was an unintended consequence that we didn't see until Mr. Metter looked it over with me at that point in time when he was at the health department. Am I missing anything else, Chad?
No, you got it, Mr. Wolf.
Okay.
Mr. Warble,
Yes.
in the packet, there's the letter provided, and it states, please review the attached memorandum of understanding between Summers County Board of Ed and Reno Medical Center. But there is no attachment in the packet.
Did that not get emailed to him? Okay.
Since we don't get to see that, should be best.
You can table it.
I don't think we-
That's fine. Oh, you do have a copy?
I make a motion that we table the discussion of possible action regarding, approval of the MOU between Summers County Schools and Summers County Wellness Center, Reno Medical Center.
I'll second.
So we have a motion for Ms. Harvey, second by Mr. Brogan, to table possible action regarding approval of MOU between Summers County Schools and Summers County Wellness Center. Any discussion? All in favor? Aye. Opposed? Abstained. Minutes reflect by a 5-0 vote. We have tabled the possible action regarding the approval of the MOU between Summers County Schools and Summers County Wellness Center. Agenda item 9C, discussion possible action regarding approval of salary schedule for coaches.
The scout salary schedule that you have in front of you is one for the 22-23 school year. Working with our policies with Trey Marone, he basically said that a school system cannot have a coach or anybody determine the cost of how someone gets paid. It has to be through the board, and they make the recommendations back to the superintendent or vice versa on how that gets done. Once that is approved, then that's what it's set for the school year. In past practice, this county has let the coaches dictate how much people are gonna get paid. In short term, Trey says a person could go to jail for that. Now, nobody's going to jail. What he's saying is, since we work with policies, he said you all are fine. It's not like anybody's in trouble, but you can't go forward because now you're in the know, and that policy now needs to be cleaned up. Ms. Crook and I budgeted already, and you guys have approved the budget of what we are going to do this school year with our expenses. And one of those was this increase here. And if you look at the bottom line, it's going to be an increase of about $15,400. But our coaches, like the young lady said tonight, do an awful lot of work. And I know you don't get rich off of coaching, especially in high school sports, especially in small counties that don't have excess levies. So the point I'm getting at is we wanted to give you a pay schedule to look over and try to make it worthwhile to let everybody know, here's what the head coach gets, here's what the assistants. And then we tried to go down the list of assistants, and we talked to the AD and the coaches back in the late winter, early spring, and we had a conversation about this. They all understood that, it's not good for a coach to dictate how much people get paid. That wasn't the issue. The next question was, how do you come up with a pay schedule that reflects what people do without hurting anybody's feelings? So basically, don't look at the person in the position, just look at the position. So you can see it starts with football and it works its way all the way down to other activities that are not necessarily athletic, because band is, I'm not saying kids don't do athletics with that, because I could not play an instrument and walk at the same time. But this is athletics that deal with the athletic trainer, the AD, and then supplementals for principals and assistant principals when they're at a sport to supervise people. If you guys have any questions, I can have a conversation with you about this.
So this is the proposed.
Yeah, but here's the problem we're getting at. A few meetings ago, it was tabled for you guys to work on this because we have to have some kind of schedule to go by. And so we've already put it in the budget and we can afford this. The question is, are you wanting to approve it tonight or do you want to have more discussions and table it and do it the next board meeting? But we really need to get this done before August starts hitting, because athletics are in place right now.
How were the adjustments determined?
Well, with the central office and myself and having conversations and looking at other counties our size and asking other counties how they came up with a matrix to pay coaches, you had some counties look at, I'll use football for example, it's probably the most dangerous sport when it comes to all the equipment. It costs about $1,800 to $2,000 to dress a football player. So when you look at that sport versus, I don't want anybody to take this wrong, but golf or cross country isn't as dangerous as maybe football. One could argue that cheerleading and basketball could be pretty bad because when you're flipping, tossing, or you're on hard, gym floor, you could break your neck or get seriously injured. The point I'm getting at is we asked other counties, we asked them to send us information, we compiled the data, and we tried to adjust it to pay people accordingly because head coaches take on a lot. And if you look at a head football coach, we're proposing to pay the football coach $4,000. But everybody has to have an athletic trainer, and that going rate's about $5,000. So we put $5,000 for that. The athletic director, $5,000 because of the job that they have to do with. Now, when I say $5,000, it's really $4,000 plus another $1,000 for a supplement to be at not all the events, but as many as they possibly can be at. And then you can see as you go down where other entities weren't adjusted, so we decided to adjust it to make it more desirable for people to want to actually coach because, let's be honest, we don't pay our people as well as I'd like to see them be paid, especially with extracurricular activities. I think it's very important for our kids to be involved with that. So with all that going through, Ms. Harvey, we tried to be fiscally responsible, and it did adjust to about $15,400 more than what we've been paying out. If you look at the current cost with the proposed and the differences on that fact sheet, tried to make it simplified on one page. Ms. Jones, am I missing anything? Is that basically the process? Am I missing? No? Yes? No? Okay.
Things are getting so expensive these days.
I'm very happy to see that there.
My concern, my only concern is, right now, we're in pretty good financial shape. Once we lose the ESSER money and we give these supplements, things are gonna get a lot tighter in the next 2 years. That's just my only concern, giving additional supplements on over what was already being received. Or not supplements, but salaries for these positions.
That's my concern as well. I'm just speaking for myself, but I'd like to see these, we already had amounts per sport already designated. I'd like to see these back in line with what we had, or very close to it.
Well, the only thing I want to say is the first year here, I was able to not have as many people that you've employed here. We got an absorption of 10 positions, which saved the district a little over 500,000. This past year, we're over $1 million. And the thing is I understand finances, but you also have to, it's hard to get people who want to coach, and it's not necessarily head coaches, it's always those assistants. And you can only do volunteering so much, but when you check around with other surrounding counties and counties our size, and we did the work to make it happen, the only question I would have back to you all is, then come up with something to help me out, because we gotta pay people regardless. And this was the best that we could come up with that made the most sense.
Do we have actual people in each one of these positions?
Not necessarily. Like football, you have a head coach at 4,000, an assistant is 1,500. Even though we have it up to 4, that doesn't mean you get 4. You just don't know the size of the group of boys you're gonna have on the football team. One year you could have 25, next year you could have 45. You just never know with the attrition rate. Basketball is pretty easy to understand. That one's pretty much the same amount of boys or girls on the team. And it's usually between 15 to 25, give or take, but that one's pretty easy to keep with 2 assistants. We were looking at past history, and we're just trying to go off that, plus surrounding counties and asking their input on it. I don't know if they can hear you with the mic on. I think Miss Harvey would you mind reading you right?
Yeah.
Okay.
Oh, okay. I was just saying, it's getting harder and harder to get people. And gas is more than double since last year. And for the time these people put in, they're not making any money. They're not even breaking even. But I understand concern about being able to continue to pay.
So, agenda item 9, new business C, discussion possible action regarding approval of salary schedule for coaches. Do we have a motion?
I make a motion to table. New business C.
Second.
So we have a motion for new business, discussion possible action regarding approval of salary schedule for coaches. Made by Mr. Rogan, second by Mr. McBride. Any discussion?
Are we tabling just until the next meeting?
Yeah, you're gonna have to, because we had sports that are starting.
I do have one question. So if you want input from us, do you want us to contact you? How would you like us to go about that sort of meeting?
I'll tell you how we did it. I had Mr. McBride and Mr. Duncan in my office to talk about pay schedule, not only just for coaches, but for the whole county. Because we got to start, it's not about inflation, all that. We got to adjust it based on competition out there. And if we don't start pulling people this way, we're going to have that revolving door. But Mr. McBride, do you remember that with Mr. Duncan? I think Mr. Duncan's here too. But long story short, if just a couple of you, because 3 makes it a meeting, but if 2 of you are willing hostages to sit down with me, I'll be glad to have that conversation with you and Ms. Crook and the directors, and you only get a couple coaches for their input if you want to do that. That's fine. Does anybody want to be willing to say you want to jump in right now, or do you want to hold off? Because when I say hold off, you need to let me know by tomorrow. So we got to move quickly on this. Okay. Okay.
motion by Mr. Brogan, second by Mr. McBride, to table possible action regarding the salary schedule. Had discussion on that, so all in favor? Opposed? Stayed. Record, reflect by a 5-0 vote. New business, agenda item C has been tabled. New business, agenda item D, discussion of possible action regarding bus garage change order construction.
Last board meeting, I had Mr. Metter give you all an update on the changes that need to be made to make sure we have, it's pouring down rain, good drainage for that bus garage wall, but also the things that are going on with the insulation inside. The insulation should be done by the end of this week. Drainage is still getting completed pretty quickly. The guys are doing a great job. What's nice is this change order doesn't have this to be involved, but we have come across a spring underneath the water there. The nice thing is Aspen's taking care of that and making sure it drains into the main vein to come around the building. So we've had a spring underneath there that has trickled water for a long time. Even when it was dry, it was still trickling. Long story short, that's being addressed with no additional cost. Having said that, we budgeted $300,000. We were at $281,750. But the change order for taking that electrical line cannot go across the top anymore because it doesn't meet code. It has to go into the ground. Plus, they had to fix some problems in the front to drain more water out towards the street and then bring that line to the main drain area. It's a cost of $20,659 that I need for you to approve tonight, which makes the grand total $302,409, which means our budget, we'd be over budget $2,409. I'm not too excited about that one, but at the same time, if that's the only thing that goes on, which we're pretty much getting to a point where we're getting to a finish point, that's pretty good, guys, considering I'm $900,000 on the middle school edition right now, so we were $2.5 million. We're trying to make, with all the costs going on, this building projects have consumed me. So we're trying to be very judicious with money, but we also understand when you run into stuff, you got to make changes. So I will say, with this heavy rain that we had before this one, even though they were just starting, them just even moving dirt like they did, we didn't have hardly any water in there. We did have water in there, but it was not near compared to what it used to be flying in there. So they are addressing those issues. And Aspen has been very professional and easy to work with, and they just know what they're doing. If you have any questions, I'll try to answer them. If they're hard, I'll give them to Mr. Metter, our facility director.
What percentage of the project is complete?
Nothing's really complete, but the insulation, they removed all the old stuff and they put 2 inches of spray foam up on the ceiling and on the doors. That'll be done this Friday. And then they have dug a bunch of trenching around the backside to finish to tie it to the front. Once they get that backside done, they'll be ready to finish off the work. So that's the last stage in the back, is finishing that up and then putting the dressing on top. But they've been bringing a lot of gravel to make sure it drains properly. All the stuff that was in the ground is clay, beer bottles, wine bottles, bricks, and other. So far, no dead animals or people have been found in that. So I'm happy. There's just junk in there, Miss Harvey. It's not good drainage. That's why that wall has been seeping for as long as it has. And we found 3 springs, and we're going to call it garage dew, and maybe bottle it and save more water that way. I don't know, but I couldn't believe that they found spring in there. So I want to be done with this project. I know, Mr. McBride, you too. So $20,659 is the overage.
I'll make the motion that we approve the bus garage change.
Second. So we have a motion by Mr. Morgan, second by Mr. McBride to approve the bus garage change order. Any discussion? All in favor? Opposed? Item number 10, personnel items. You have before you the superintendent recommendation for resignation, retirements, employment professional, employment service, employment athletic coaches, employment substitute professional, and employment substitute service. We have some without names, those are not being filled tonight.
Those had no applicants, so we'll post them again. The good news is we're further ahead this year with filling positions than last year, so we're doing pretty good right now.
I'll make a motion we approve the superintendent's recommendations for personnel items.
Have a motion for approving the superintendent's recommendation for personnel items. Do I have a second?
I would like to make a motion that we go into executive session to discuss, head cheer coach, personnel item, head cheer coach in light of correspondence we've received as well as the public comment.
Have a motion to go into executive session. Personnel items. Mr. Morley, second by Mr. Brown. Discussion. All in favor? Opposed? Abstained?
reflect that we have returned from executive session. We have before us the personnel items recommended by the superintendent that we have read over previously. I have a motion.
I would like to make a motion that we approve the personnel items as recommended by Superintendent Warble.
Second. A motion that the personnel items recommended by the superintendent be approved. Do we have a second? Motion dies for lack of a second. Item 11, superintendent's report.
So I have a question for the board. How do we fill all the rest of these positions as we move forward? Do we contact all these people and tell them to keep looking for a job elsewhere at this point in time?
Entertain this one again.
I would like to make a motion that we approve the personnel items as recommended by Superintendent Warble.
Do we have a second?
I'll second.
Okay, we have a recommendation, we have a motion by Ms. Farley, seconded by Mr. Rogan, to approve the personnel items as recommended by Superintendent Warble. Is there any discussion? All in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Abstaining? Let the minutes reflect by a 4-0 vote with one abstention, being Mr. McBride, that the personnel items recommended by Superintendent Warble were approved. Okay, item 11, superintendent report.
I already talked to you guys about the bus garage area. So the other two items are pre-bid will be here tomorrow at 1 o'clock for all those interested in doing the middle school addition. Once we get all those people to understand what the schematic designs are and how to go about the business of working with McKinley, the bids will be in by the end of this month. Hopefully, the first meeting in August, you all can approve a vendor that we can go with to start construction right away. So the other issue that's probably more pressing than everything else that's going on is the sinkhole at the edge of town. That is a very dangerous area that has been looked at by some engineers from Lewisburg yesterday. There was a meeting held at 2 o'clock at the sinkhole. Basically, what's going on is there's a lot of different ideas, but the main one that they're coming up with at this point in time is, I'll address the water issue. There's a water line that comes all the way out here to feed this facility, and anybody that's within the Hinton to that sign basically is getting water. So you have also a gas line that's above that water line. That gas line is very flexible. The water line is not. That water line is going to fail, is basically what's going to happen. So they're working on that to fix that first. The second thing they need to do is remove that building. That building has to be removed. So that police building is basically condemned. They'll remove it. And most likely at this point in time, which could change, so don't take this all, and I know you're writing down, but it could change. I'm just telling you what engineers have told us. that they'll have the traffic go through where the police building is, because that hole could start spreading out towards the major thoroughfare, but there's 100-year-old culvert system that's cracking right down the middle that needs to be fixed. It's not an if, it's a when. So like tonight, more rain, it's just eroding. And as we were there at the meeting talking to people, you could just hear stuff dropping left and right. And eventually, that's just going to keep eroding until it needs fixed. So it's not technically a sinkhole. It's just a failure of a culvert from the last 100 years. So right now, it's not called a sinkhole. It's a culvert that's failing. But if you think about a 100-year culvert, it's done its job. It's just time to replace it and fix it. But the state needs to come in. It's a state major thoroughfare. They want to keep that road open. They do know that we have not only school buses and the general public, but then you also have people that work at the dam that bring heavy traffic through there as well. So you've got a lot of heavy traffic flowing through that road area. You really don't understand how much traffic is there until you see them hold up with the road construction plus the sinkhole or / culvert hole. It's a lot of traffic that comes through there daily, guys. So we will keep you all posted. Hopefully we don't have to push the start date back for school to start, because honestly, we have a lot of kids that need to get out to this building and vice versa. But at the end of the day, they're going to start removing that building and create a lane or two on the other side of that building area, versus if you're going in, they want to go, everybody go to the right, not the left, because that area needs to be cleaned up and fixed. So that's the only information I have at this point in time, and what I told you now could be wrong in the next 5 minutes, because I have no idea what's going on with it until the engineers give us more of an update. But Mr. Boone is definitely on it, and we'll keep you guys informed at every board meeting.
Item number 12, discussion of next agenda.
Yeah, there's 2 items we tabled, so we'll do that.
Okay. Any other items any members would like to add? Mr. McBride, you're on.
All right, I'll make a motion to adjourn. Time is 7:20.
Thank you. Executive session.